614 Startups Nation, we are back at the Venture Dinner for the Venture Ohio for 2018, and I'm here with my man Phil. Super excited. I've been hearing great things about MentorClick. Is that correct?
That's right, yeah.
All right, so first exposed to this company through my research at Rev1. It's good to finally meet you. Introduce yourself to the folks and tell us a bit about MentorClick.
Yeah, so MentorClick is an employee mentoring platform for large enterprise. So it's a global platform used by a lot of large Fortune 500 type companies. It's really a platform to connect employees across space in terms of, these large companies have a hard time really connecting their employees in ways that'll help benefit them over time, understand their career, kind of get them out of the cluster of people that they know, get them exposed to some that they don't and some that could really help them with their career. So that's what the platform does. We help facilitate programs like onboarding or high potential, diversity and inclusion programs. And it's really about driving employee engagement, development, and then ultimately retention of those employees.
Okay. What got you started in this space?
Yeah, I was actually running a mentoring program for my previous company. I was the executive sponsor for the program. I was a mentor for a dozen employees over the course of a few years and really just saw firsthand the challenges that companies that are larger face when they try to go bigger with their mentoring program and really reach hundreds, if not thousands of employees. Looked around and there weren't a lot of tools in the market to help solve that problem, and so we went about creating those tools and really being a leader in the space.
Okay. So what are the core components of a good, effective mentoring program?
Yeah, so it's a four-phased approach. First is launching, getting people excited about what's happening, why it's important. Second is matching them up with a great mentor and mentee, and that's about, as much about professional development as about personal compatibility. So we have a personality assessment that's built into it, and then really supporting them along the way, supporting the mentoring through resources and guidance, and then measuring the outcomes and making sure that people had a great experience, figure out what they learned, where did they progress, where are the opportunities, what are opportunities for other programs or approaches that you could use internally to help support those employees.
So how do you guys define a mentor, right? And then how do you define a mentee? Because I think a lot of people, they interchange that with a coach, they interchange that with like a supervisor who just has to fill out this form so that they don't get into trouble. So in your program, how do you define mentor, mentee?
Yeah, so we don't actually get hung up on titles in that way. Companies utilize our platform for all kinds of programs, leadership development programs, coaching programs, sponsorship programs, mentoring programs. We use mentoring as kind of a more general, broad way of saying putting two smart people in a room together to transfer knowledge and create better connections within your company. And how you define it internally at your company, we leave that up to our customers. And so they run a lot of different programs on our platform ultimately. But it's a great point. Within the talent space, there's a lot of discussion of what's a coach, what's a mentor, what are these other things. We let them run the type of program they want to run, but our platform connects employees and then helps them progress through the relationship.
So now that you've gone to market with your product, what has been the feedback that you're getting from these companies in terms of implementation and utilization, right? Because I buy software all the time and I maybe use 10% of the functionality. What are you seeing as people purchase this package? What is utilization like and what's the feedback? What are some obstacles that they're running into to really utilizing this system fully?
Yeah, I think so. Most of the companies we work with are what we would consider mentor ready, in the sense that mentoring has always been a part of their culture at the company, and this is really just about supporting it better, making it more expansive, more available to more employees. So I think the companies that would struggle would be those that it's not really a part of their culture. It hasn't been something that they've made as part of their performance review process and made part of what they do to support employees. I think that's where people struggle. The other piece of it from a technology standpoint, from implementation, is we've really focused on employee mentoring as the cornerstone of our product. And so it's allowed us to keep it pretty simple. In that context, there's a lot of other, when you think of the word mentoring, there's like youth mentoring programs, run through nonprofits, there's student mentoring programs, there's association mentoring programs for like professional networks and stuff like that. We don't focus on those things. And so, we have some competitors in the space that have, we've had customers approach us and evaluate the two, and they kind of look at them and they're like, yeah, it's kind of bloatware, because they're trying to meet all these different markets' needs, which means they don't meet our needs very well, and there's a lot of distracting features and functions that aren't necessary for an internal mentoring program for an employee. And so we've really focused on the employee experience, really making that a great one. We rolled out a mobile app this year, which makes that even better, makes it more accessible. We've been seeing a trend in that direction of more people accessing the platform through the mobile app as we've moved forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Phil. I appreciate you spending the time. Now, you're putting your money, whether figuratively or literally, because I saw an article by Rev1 about some mentoring that you guys are doing for startups here locally. So why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a natural connection that happens within the startup community. It's a very close-knit community. When we were getting started, we had a lot of great mentors, still do, and they've helped us really mature, really look around the corner, understand what challenge you might not be anticipating that's 6 months, a year from that. And as we've progressed, we've become speakers or gotten involved in different things, and then after an event or something like that, we'll have folks come up and talk with us, and then have developed some relationships out of those experiences pretty naturally, not exactly through our platform, which is used internally within companies, but more naturally to help guide them and provide feedback. I think it's fun for a startup as you mature to then be able to look back and be like, oh yeah, I mean, that is great like if they're saying that, you're right on the right track. 6 months from now, what you want to do is turn that into this and that, within your product. And then, and I think sometimes people just need that positive reinforcement to say, am I headed in the right direction? 4 or 5 years ago, did your conversations with customers sound anything like this? And it's like, yeah, that's gold, and really helping to reinforce that and getting them energized about what they're doing and what the next step is.
Awesome. So how do folks get a hold of you? How does the program work? What are the criteria for you bringing somebody on board to kind of lend your expertise to them?
Yeah, so people can contact me at mentorclick.com, reference me in the email, and my team will get the email to me, and I'm happy to help in any way that I can.
Okay, no excuses, folks. You heard it from Phil. He's walking the walk. He's talking the talk. Not only is he helping companies out there who are interested in implementing, or maybe they have a mentorship program and they want to improve it, talk to this guy at MentorClick. But if you're a startup and you're looking for some guidance, whether from him or maybe somebody in his network, he is giving back to the startup community, which is what Venture Ohio is all about, which is what Rev1 is all about, which is what Phil and MentorClick is all about. So check him out, mentorclick.com.